Today, we are going to talk about setting boundaries during the holiday season. And I am going to give you 19 ways that you can kindly, respectfully, and firmly say no. I have these 19 phrases that you can take with you and use. Okay, thanks so much for being here today. I'm Kathy Weens. I'm a trauma recovery and women's empowerment coach. I'm a licensed professional counselor, author, and educator. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I am on a mission with this channel to help women like me over the age of 50 and in the second half of life to let go of people pleasing, to let go of that, inner critic, and to move on, to find our strengths and our gifts, and to live the life that we were meant to live, that we want to live. If not now, when? When are we going to do it? Okay, let's get started with today. So, setting boundaries is an important thing that we can do to let go of that people pleasing, to be authentic to ourselves and who we truly want to be. So during the holiday season, there are a lot of things to do. Presents to buy, functions to attend, meals to cook, all of those things. And it can be overwhelming at times. It can be wonderful and fun too, and there are a lot of good times. But to make those good times even better, we need to manage the overwhelm and the stress. And one way we can do that is with setting some boundaries on our time and on the things that we are asked to do. And a technique that we can use for setting boundaries is to have a go-to way to say no, to say, I really can't do that, or I really don't want to do that. Many of us were not taught that no is a complete sentence, but it is. And so today in this video, I have several ways, 19 actually, to help you learn how to respectfully but firmly say no to things that you really don't want to do. I found this list on Pinterest, and I hope it's helpful to you and to all of us, and I include myself in that have trouble setting boundaries. Okay, but before we get into the various ways to say no to things during the holidays, I want to talk a little bit about boundaries. I'm going to share 3 things that we can think about when we're setting boundaries. So the first thing is, when you are asked to do something, think about what your body is telling you. So first, pause, always the pause. Pause and breathe. And what are you feeling in your body? Now, if this request feels life-giving, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But if it makes you feel heavy, if you feel kind of, maybe there's some anger brewing up or some resentment, then let's honor that feeling. Let's honor what our body and our mind is telling us. And to think about, why don't you want to do this? What's coming up? And even if at that moment you can't fully figure out what it is, it's okay to say no to that, simply because you're having this physical reaction that, oh, this is not something that I want to do. And this is a way to honor and value yourself, to move beyond people pleasing and taking care of everyone else, and to honor yourself. Now, this is not selfish. This is self-care, and it's what we need to do. And let me also say, with that first tip about setting boundaries, is that it's okay to take some time. Maybe when someone asks you to do something, you simply tell them, I'm going to need a day to think about it. So you can also take some time for yourself. That's another way to set a boundary. All right, so tip number 2 on setting boundaries is honoring the time that we set aside for ourselves. When things are really busy, it may feel really hard to take some time for yourself. but that's exactly the time that you need to do that. You know, so often as women, we prioritize our commitments to other people, but we don't prioritize our commitments to ourselves. And so I would encourage you to do that. And that is a way to set a boundary. And a boundary is simply something that we put around ourselves to protect us. And taking care of ourselves, taking those moments to re-energize yourself is really important. And you know, it may feel foreign at first, but it's like building a muscle. And it may be hard, may feel funny, may not feel very comfortable to do it at first, but it is important to do. And if you keep doing it over time and with practice, it will get easier. So that's tip number 2, to prioritize, to set aside, and to honor time for yourself during these busy holidays. And the third tip that I want to give about boundaries is we don't need to give excuses for why we can't do something. Our no is good enough. Like I said earlier, no is a complete sentence. We don't need to give excuses. Now, this is a hard one for me, though, because I often, if I say I can't do something, it's like, well, I can't do it because I have company coming into town, or I can't do it because I have another obligation at that time. You know, something that we also might do because we can't say no as a complete sentence is we might even say something that isn't true. We might say, no, I can't do this because I have something else going on that really isn't. And that just kind of degrades our own integrity. After we do that, we may feel shame, like, oh man, I lied. So we can just say no. We don't have to give excuses, and especially we don't have to give excuses that aren't true. Again, no is a complete sentence. And if people pressure you for excuses as to why you can't do that, then maybe you need to think about that relationship. Is that really a good relationship for you to be in? Is that someone that honors you? And I think saying no, when I share with you these 19 different things that you can say, you will probably find a few things in there that you can use. When you say no, and then people might pressure you for reasons why you can't do that, you could use some of these sentences. And you could use these different statements or sentences. And if the person keeps pressuring you, then to just parrot that. This is a parenting technique. I was an early childhood educator for years, taught many parenting classes, and this was a discipline technique with our children, is to, it's called the parroting, like the bird, the parrot, or a broken record. So using the broken record technique, when someone is kind of pressuring you for reasons that you've said no, why you can't do the thing they want you to do, you can just repeat one of these sentences that I'm about to give you that you feel comfortable with. So one of the statements is, I'm not able to commit to that right now. And you know, if someone pressures you, again, is that really a good relationship? You could just repeat that. No, I'm not able to commit to that right now. Pressure comes on. Well, why? No, I'm not able to commit to that right now. And that's a good boundary. And what you're doing when you do that is you're educating that other person that they can't get you to do things as easily as maybe they used to be. Because many of us are kind of coming out of this people pleasing and trying to do the things that feel good to us and that honor us. Okay, so here's the list. I'm just going to read it off. And don't worry about writing these down, because this whole video, the script for this video, is in a blog on my website, and I will link that below in the description. So you will have all of this content in that blog. Okay, so here are the statements that you can say. No thanks, I have another whatever, commitment, whatever. Okay. Another thing you can say is, unfortunately, it's not a good time. You can say, I'd love to, but I can't. Again, that's another one you could just repeat over and over. Or, no thanks, I won't be able to make it. That's really a full sentence. And doesn't give any excuses, just I won't be able to make it. Could also say, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Now, some of these may resonate with you more than others. I'm just going to read through the whole list. Another one is, I'm already booked. Another one, that's not going to work for me. This one is, sounds fun, but I won't be available. And then another one, I just don't have that to give right now. So maybe if you're asked for a donation or whatever, that would fit with. And then, I'm not able to commit to that right now. Again, that's a good full sentence that just sets a boundary. And then, that's not a good idea for me, or it is not a good idea for me to do that. Again, another one is, I can't take on any more responsibilities. I really like that one because that is, yeah, I just really like that one. It's very firm and it says, this is what I cannot do anymore. Another one, which may not feel comfortable, to me it feels a little, ooh, but is, my body says yes, but my heart says no. Okay, that would be one. I like this one. Nope. Okay. Another, maybe another time. So that's leaving the door open. And again, what you feel in your body, maybe it sounds like a good thing to do, but you know you are just way overwhelmed and your body is telling you, don't do it. So you could say, well, maybe another time. Another one, I am not accepting anything else at this time. That's another way of saying I have too many responsibilities. I appreciate the offer, but, and you could maybe figure out something to put in there. I'm not really into it, but thanks for asking. And that's, that's very kind and polite. And then the last one I have here is, I'd rather not, thanks. And then from this list, and again, this list is in the blog that I have on my website, and I'll put the link below. But in this list, maybe, you could choose one or two, two or three, whatever feels comfortable to you, the ones that resonate the most with you. And then just practice those and maybe think about situations that you anticipate, because we kind of know people are going to ask us to do things. So situations that we anticipate we might need to use these sentences or these statements, and just think about that and kind of rehearse that in your mind to know what you're going to say when someone comes up to this. It's like having a script to say when you know you're going to get in some situations that maybe are a little difficult for you. And the last thing that I want to say about this is to be gentle with yourself. If you haven't set boundaries with people, maybe ever, you're not going to do it perfectly, and that's okay. It's just important to recognize this and to start. And again, be gentle with yourself. You're human. And it's hard for everyone when they first start trying to do this. And if you've been the person that has said yes to everything, then that's what people expect of you. And the reality is, and there's no judgment in this at all, but the reality is we teach people how to treat us. And so if you have taught people that when they ask you to do something, you're going to say yes, and then you start saying no, there's going to be some pushback. So stick with it. You can do it. But it might get worse before it gets better. So remember that. Just when you try one of these statements and it's really hard and people really push back, remember that it's going to probably, anyway, going to get worse before it gets better. But stick with it. Setting boundaries and maintaining those boundaries is good, not only for you, but for other people that you care about. Because when we set boundaries, that honors ourselves more. It gives us more peace and more safety in our life. Because when we show up in the world as our true, authentic self, and we are doing the things that are life-giving to us, that is going to help the people around us too. Yeah, sure, there are times we have to do things that we don't really want to do. I mean, that's just life. But if we're doing that all the time, we're probably not going to be a very happy person. But if we love and honor and value ourselves and our needs, then we can show up better for others in our life too. Okay, thanks. Now, like I said earlier, this is a blog that I have on my website. All the things that I've said here are in that blog. So just click the link below. You don't even have to put in your email. Just go to my blog and look at that. Go to my website, excuse me, and look at that blog. And also, while you're there, look around my site. I have several free classes. I have a class on people pleasing, on self-compassion, on shame. There's a challenge about gratitude, and all of those are free for you. I am trying to grow my community, a community of women that love, value, and support themselves and each other. And if you want to get into this a little bit deeper, reach out to me. We can schedule a consultant call and to see if coaching might be the right thing for you. Okay. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel. It just helps things grow and gets us out further. Like this video and share it with someone that you know might need this. Okay. Thanks so much for being here today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.